Buckle up, fellas, as we journey into the world of Stormwatch, the unsung legends who forged a path to superhero greatness. As we peel back the pages of comic history, prepare to be whisked away by a team that redefined the very essence of superpowered storytelling. Hailing from the hallowed halls of Wildstorm, Stormwatch burst onto the scene, later evolving into the powerhouse known as the Authority. So grab your capes and gear up for a thrilling ride through the electrifying saga of Stormwatch, the unsung architects of the superhero revolution. Just before we go into our video, we have a small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you very much. Now let's begin. Stormwatch, Wildstorm to DC Comic. Time to dive into the awesome world of Stormwatch, that rockstar superhero crew tearing through the pages of American comics, courtesy of the genius mind of Jim Lee. Back in the comic cosmos of March 1993, they burst onto the scene in Stormwatch #1 and blew our minds. You 90s kids know exactly what I mean. Now Wildstorm Comics, the rad label that birthed Stormwatch, eventually high-fived DC Comics and became one with their universe. But don't think for a second that our super squad lost their edge. No, they just cranked up the intrigue. They're the stealthy, secretive type, the ones who save the day without needing the spotlight. So Stormwatch, a hush-hush league of do-gooders tackling the gnarliest missions behind the scenes, all while the bigger superhero gang has no clue. Well, they're like the Avengers meets Mission Impossible, with a splash of extra mystery sauce. Who did it better? In the Wildstorm universe, Stormwatch was like the United Nations VIP squad, sponsored and bossed around by the Weatherman. These folks have been in the monster-mashing, alien-thrashing business for centuries. They're like the ancient guardians that make Ghostbusters look like rookies. Fast forward to the new 52 DC universe, and Stormwatch has turned into the ultimate OG defender of Earth. Remember, we're zoned in on the DC version of Stormwatch here, folks. Created tag team style by Paul Cornell and Miguel Sepulveda, they crashed onto the scene as part of the new 52 party. The UN went all out and decided to cook up a superhuman crisis unit. They pulled out all the stops, spending a solid 3 years recruiting their dream team and throwing together their epic base, the Skywatch. Think of it as the Justice League headquarters with a side of international intrigue. The Authority. Are they the same? Okay, time to rewind the clock and dig into one of the most epic and game-changing eras in comic history. We're talking about the Authority, that squad of gritty heroes who shook things up big time. Stormwatch. The cool cats over at Wildstorm Comics were doing their thing. Founded by the legendary Jim Lee back in '92, they were part of the creator-owned revolution alongside Image Comics. Fast forward to a pivotal moment in Volume 2 of Stormwatch when Warren Ellis took the reins. In a whirlwind 12-issue story, Ellis brought in fresh faces and then decided to go all xenomorph on most of Stormwatch in a wild crossover with Wildcats Aliens in '98. Just a year later, Wildstorm Comics hitched a ride with the DC Comic Express, becoming a part of the powerhouse. And guess what? Boom! The Authority #1 hit the stands. This comic blasted readers into the brave new world, where the surviving Stormwatchers were deep undercover as the Authority, a crew that made the term superhero team sound like an understatement. These badasses called themselves a higher authority, and they were up against Kaizen, a dude they ticked off big time by wiping out 200 of his people in a major showdown. Kaizen wasn't about to take that lying down. He had a plan to give cities across Europe a really bad day, starting with Moscow. In swoops London, the stage for an epic showdown, and guess what the Authority rolled up in? The Carrier, a 35-mile high by 50-mile wide crib powered by its own little universe. Just your everyday hangout for superheroes, right? The epic evolution. Stormwatch 1 and Stormwatch 2. Stormwatch. They're out on a mission, all guns a-blazing, when out of nowhere, bam. Villain Deathtrap and his mercs roll in like a sneak attack party crasher. It's a roller coaster of chaos, and by the time the dust settles, only King is left standing. Now that's a tough day at work. But hey, every cloud has a silver lining, right? So in swoop the replacements. Diva, Winter, Fuji, and Hellstrike, and just like that, Stormwatch 1 is reborn. King says, hey, we ain't done yet, and gets busy recruiting the next batch of heroes. Fahrenheit, Ion, Lancer, Cannon, and Strafe. Boom. Stormwatch 2 takes the stage. Stormwatch's lineup is like a revolving door of superheroes. One minute you're in, the next, well, you could be out for various reasons. Death, locked up, yeah, you name it. The Prime, the Red and the Black teams. The leadership of Stormwatch was a game of musical chairs, with King and Synergy passing the baton like a relay race. But hey, all that switcheroo got kicked into high gear after the Fire from Heaven event. That was like a wake-up call that led to total makeover. Stormwatch goes from the A team to, well, kind of rebooting as 3 squads after firing most heroes from Stormwatch 1 and 2, each with a power-packed trio. Stormwatch Prime brings Fuji, Winter and Hellstrike to the party. The Red team flaunts Flint, Rose Tattoo and Fahrenheit. And the Black squad, that's the stealthy behind-the-scenes action with Jenny Sparks, Swift and Jack Hawksmoor. Bendix, now the Weatherman, cooks up a secret team, kinda like his own personal superhero dream team. We're talking Apollo, Midnighter and a bunch of other cool cats, but most of them bite the dust on their first mission. Talk about a not so heroic debut. And just when you thought things couldn't get crazier, Bendix goes off the deep end. He orders Stormwatch Red to serve up revenge to the tune of 233 Gamorreans for Kaizen Gamora's dirty deeds. Villain much? The plot thickens and Bendix starts pulling shady moves, sending Rose Tattoo on assassination duty and even dropping an acid bomb on their HQ. Yeah, it escalates quickly. The dust settles and the High, the ultimate mystery hero, bites the dust after taking a one-way trip through the storm door. Jenny Sparks takes charge, showing Bendix the door, and Jackson King, aka Battalion, steps up as the new Weatherman. Red and Prime, well, they're teaming up like the superhero mashup. Meanwhile, Black remains the stealth squad, working from the shadows like Batman on espresso. The PhD. So Jackson King, the mastermind behind Stormwatch, wasn't about to let a little alien attack get him down. No, he rolled up his sleeves and cooked up a new gig. Stormwatch PhD, aka the Post-Human Division. He decided to bounce back with a vengeance. So remember those brave souls who bit the dust in that gnarly alien showdown? Well, King pulled off the ultimate hero move and brought them back to life for round 2. Zombie style? Nah, more like super revived style, and this time they're packing tactics instead of just powers. It's like watching Batman from his own Justice League but with a pinch of undead awesomeness. Stormwatch PhD is all about the cool factor and cunning strategies. They've set up shop in the US of A. These heroes are all about brains over brawn. Think James Bond meets the Avengers minus the billion-dollar tech. Earth Zero Stormwatch. So post Flashpoint we've got Earth Zero Stormwatch, and trust me, they're not your average caped crusaders. These guys are the secret agents of the superhero world, older than your grandmother's secret recipes. Flashpoint happened, reality got a facelift, and bam, Stormwatch gets a whole new look. They've been chilling in the shadows since the Middle Ages with the enigmatic Shadow Lords at the controls. They're more like the ultimate cosmic babysitters, protecting Earth from the galaxy's biggest bullies. But don't call them a superhero team. No, that's too mainstream for these cats. They're like the ninja spies of the superhero universe, lurking in the shadows and playing the game their own way. And don't let the secrecy fool you, these guys are packing serious superpower heat. Now let's talk team dynamics. When the curtains open on the first issue, you've got the Engineer, Jack Hawksmoor and Jenny Quantum leading the charge. And they're not alone in this cosmic tango. Enter the new recruit, Adam One, the Projectionist and the Eminence of Blades. Plus, if you're a Justice League fan, get ready for a surprise. Martian Manhunter is in the mix. But this lineup's got some twists and turns. Later on, Apollo and Midnighter make their grand entrance while some of the others decide to exit stage left. The end result, the ultimate cosmic dream team. The Engineer, Jack Hawksmoor, Jenny Quantum, Apollo and Midnighter. Meet the members. Get ready to meet the powerhouse heroes of the Authority and their wild, mind-blowing abilities. First up, we've got Jenny Sparks, aka the spirit of the 20th century. This badass was the big brain behind founding the Authority, and she's like a superhero grandmother. Born in England at the dawn of the 1900s and destined to kick the bucket by the time the century had wrapped up. Her powers are electric. She's zapping control over all things electrical and ageless to boot. Imagine if Benjamin Franklin had a superpowered alter ego. See, Sparks takes the cake. Now, say hello to Jack Hawksmoor, the god of the cities. This dude's got a power that's straight out of a sci-fi movie. He can vibe with cities, feeling their energy and talking to them. And get this, his powers come from wild experiments he went under as a kid by some futuristic folks. And guess what? He's ditched the flashy tights for regular clothes, making him the coolest city whisperer there is. Apollo, aka the Sun King, is about to heat things up. You might have heard of this guy. He's like the authority's answer to Superman. Flight, super strength, immortality, he's got it all. And if that wasn't enough, he can shoot solar beams from his eyes. So basically, he's the sun in superhero form. Midnighter, aka Knight's Bringer of War, went from regular Joe to supercharged thanks to some fancy medical upgrades. Imagine super strength, super speed, and Wolverine level healing, and that is Midnighter for you. And let's not forget his husband, Apollo, making them the power couple of the comic world. Swift, aka the Winged Huntress. Well, she got her wings flapping thanks to a game of tag with a meteor. She was born with some hidden bird-loving DNA that got activated in the process. And boy, did that unleash some cool powers. Flight, super speed, bird senses, and even a sixth sense for what our feathered friends are thinking. And then there's the Engineer, aka the Maker. She's like a living techno wizard with nanotechnology running through her veins thanks to a computer fusion party. She can shapeshift, whip up objects out of thin air, and oh, she's a genius level thinker to boot. Basically, if MacGyver had superpowers and a thing for tech, you would get the Engineer. Stormwatch to replace Suicide Squad. Let's break down the epic superhero showdown between Stormwatch and the Suicide Squad. So you take a gander at the new Stormwatch squad and then the Suicide Squad, and you might think they're raiding each other's superhero closets. Yeah, it's like watching two rival bands battling it out for the spotlight. Stormwatch has got a mix of do-gooders and baddies, some government support, and a mission that spans the globe. Sounds familiar? Yeah, you guessed it. Suicide Squad deja vu all over again. Sure, they might seem cut from the same comic book cloth, but there's more to it. Let's lay it down. Suicide Squad, or Task Force X if you're feeling formal, are like the Uncle Sam's secret agents, doing dirty work with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer. Stormwatch, on the flip side, has more of a global reach, doing its thing under the watchful eye of the DEO and giving the UN a nod. It's like comparing a local spy gig to an international superhero summit. Both squads aren't exactly fans of open books and transparencies, but Stormwatch's global surveillance net makes sure they toe the line when it comes to doing the right thing. It's like they've got a superhero morality police making sure that they don't go off the rails, instead of taking orders from Waller's shady squad. There's more than meets the eye when it comes to control. Suicide Squad's known for popping explosive surprises under their agent's skin to keep them in line. Stormwatch, on the other hand, isn't into the whole explosive bling. They're not afraid to venture off the beaten path, as seen when some of their crew defied orders to save Iron Heights prisoners from the Singularity's chaos. But Stormwatch pulled off the mission despite the rebellion, proving they can be a tad more independent than Waller's puppeteers. Still, the incident reminds us that while they might have rocked it this time, the future is a wild card. It's like they've got a looser leash, giving them more room for heroics and havoc. Marvelous verdict. In the grand universe of comics, the Stormwatch stands as a monumental game changer that left its mark on both the industry and Hollywood itself. While its characters may not have reached the same household name status, the raw power in their storytelling still reverberates through the pages of modern comics. The Authority's edgy, gritty nature, laced with a sense of militarized intensity, rewrote the rules of superhero storytelling. This seismic shift in tone and approach altered the very landscape of comics' direct market, reshaping expectations and inviting a new era of storytelling that continues to echo in the comics world today. And by the way, if you liked our content, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't done so already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.